On number 1, we want to solve this. The two numbers that multiply to get negative 27 and add to get 6 would be 9 and a negative 3, but you must reverse those to get negative 9, 3 to get the solutions. It would be D, as in dog. Two numbers that multiply to get negative 6 and add to get a negative 1 would be 2 and negative 3, but you reverse those to get negative 2, 3 to get the solutions. Negative 2, 3 does not appear up here, so the answer is E, none. 56, to multiply to get a 56 and add to get a 15, it would have to be 7 and 8, but you change the signs to get negative 7, negative 8. D. Multiply to get 8, add to get a negative 6. That would be negative 4, negative 2. But change those to 4, 2 to get your solution. C. Multiply to get 75, add to get 20. That's 5 and 15. Change them to get negative 5, negative 15, which would be B. Alright, we're going to divide this by this. If we do that, then we need two numbers that multiply to get 72 and add to get 17. That's 8 and 9. Well, we already have a positive 9 here, so we need x plus 8. X plus 8 does not appear on here, so the answer is E, none. To solve a polynomial equation, if you can solve the whole thing by graphing, that's good. If you can only find a couple of zeros that are clearly visible as integers on the graph, then you're going to have to use those to start dividing your polynomial down to where you can get it into something that's factorable for the remaining two quantities. And then set each one equal to 0. Come up with your solutions. Okay, we graphed it on a graphing calculator and found that a negative 4 could be a 0. Did anybody find anything else that could be a 0 for this equation? Negative 5? Alright, negative 5. Did you find anything else? Is 2 a possible 0? Okay, so with those, we can go through and start doing some division. Alright, so let's start by dividing by, I'll do negative 4. I'll start with negative 4 first. And if I divide negative 4 into 42, 269, negative 88, negative 1709, and then 1006, and a negative 120. I'll have to draw a line and drop down the 42. Here it is. There's the 42, and we're going to multiply negative 4 by 42 and come up with negative 168. And add to that 269. Come back with 101. Multiply 101 by a negative 4 to get negative 404. And negative 404 plus negative 88 is negative 492. Negative 492 times a negative 4 is 1968, and add to that a negative 1709 to get 259. Multiply 259 by a negative 4 to get a negative 1036, and add to that 1006. And we come up with a negative 30. Negative 4 times negative 30 is positive 120. So that works out evenly. We write x plus 4 since we divided by negative 4. And we're left with 42 x to the 4th plus 101 x to the 3rd minus 492 x squared plus 259 x minus 30. Now you have to go back and divide by one of your other zeros that you have not used, and that's going to be negative 5 in this case. So negative 5, and divide that into 42, 101, negative 492, 259, and negative 30. Draw a line and drop the first one, it's 42, and multiply 42 by negative 5. And you come back with negative 210. Add 101 to that and get negative 109. Negative 5 times negative 109 is going to be 545. Add to that a negative 492 and get 53. Multiply by negative 5 to get negative 265. Add to that 259, and that is a negative 6. Negative 6 times negative 5 is positive 30, so we get a 0. That means it went in evenly. So from before we had x plus 4, now we have x plus 5. And what's left is 42, x to the third minus 109x plus 53. Let's see, should that be to the squared there? Yes, 109x squared plus 53x minus 6. We still have another 0 that we can try, and that is a 2. So we'll start dividing by a 2 here. And when we divide by 2, we're going to divide that into 42, negative 109, 53, negative 6. Drop the 42. Multiply by 2 to get 84. And 84 plus a negative 109 is negative 25. Times 2 is a negative 50. You're left with 3. And times 2 is 6. You're left with 0. From before we had x plus 4, x plus 5, and now we have an x minus 2 because we divided by a positive 2. And what's left is 42x squared minus 25x and then plus 3. And don't forget, all of these are equal to 0. You have to factor out this quantity. So you have to come up with, and we'll do it here below in red, you have to come up with two items that multiply to get 42x squared. What are two factors of 42 that are close together? 6 and 7. So let's try 7x and 6x. Your signs are minus plus here. So we know that the signs and the factors have to be what? Not plus minus. Minus minus, yes. And the factors of 3 are pretty simple, 1 and 3. So let's just try it and see what happens. To check it, you go here and here. That's a negative 21x, and then here and there you have a negative 6x. Does that give us the middle term of negative 25x? Right here, does this give me this? No, it does not. That's a negative 27x. So let's try something different. How about 7x minus 3 and then 6x minus 1? And we'll see how that works out. Check here. You come up with a negative 7x. And check there. That's a negative 18x. Does this give me negative 25x? Yes, it does. So we found it. Remember, we had x plus 4, x plus 5, x minus 2, and we just found this. 7x minus 3, 6x minus 1. And to solve the polynomial equation, you set each of these equal to 0 and solve for x. In the first three cases, it's pretty simple. Negative 4, negative 5, and 2. On this one, it becomes 3 over 7. And this one, it's 1 over 6. You just simply set 6x minus 1 equal to 0 and solve for x. 7x minus 3, set it equal to 0, solve for x. These are your answers. You have 5 of them.